From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Support for Paris can be seen around the world, but the attacks are leading some to wonder what will happen next.
Getting interactive, experts say it shouldn't just be about screen time. We'll tell you about a new push to get people talking face-to-face.
And every child is unique, and their education should reflect that. See how a Valley school is doing things different to help educate kids with autism.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Lauren Michaels.
And I'm Mitch Casada. Thanks for joining us. From talks of war to hopes for peace, the investigations are ongoing into the Paris terror attacks, which left 129 dead and 300 injured Friday night. And in the United States, the attacks and the potential global response has shifted the tone of politics. Presidential hopeful Jeb Bush and former candidate Mitt Romney appeared on television networks to denounce President Barack Obama's policies and to suggest that a U.S. ground war against the Islamic State may be inevitable. Arizona Senator John McCain also took to television alongside presidential candidate Senator Lindsey Graham to address his concerns.
Unfortunately, we have predicted that we were not defeating ISIS, and they were certainly not contained, and we need boots on the ground, and we need to have a strategy, not just more of the same, more of the same.
President Obama spoke in Turkey today defending his strategy against ISIS. He says airstrikes have been effective in taking out ISIS leadership and that sending troops to Syria would not be a good idea.
We have the finest military in the world, and we have the finest military minds in the world. And I've been meeting with them intensively for years now, discussing these various options. And it is not just my view, but the view of my closest military and civilian advisors, that that would be a mistake.
In the wake of the devastating terror attacks that took place in Paris, people around the world mourned the tragedy. National moments of silence were held in Belgium, London, Australia, and at the G20 summit, where world leaders stood in solidarity with France. And over the weekend, landmarks around the globe glowed in red, white, and blue lights in show of support for the City of Lights. From the World Trade Center in New York City to the Opera House in Sydney and the Great Pyramid of Giza. But despite the show of global solidarity, the Islamic State has released a video vowing to attack Washington, and the Obama administration announced a new intelligence sharing arrangement with France to coordinate military planning. Cronkite News reporter Jennifer Souls spoke with global affairs experts on what may be coming next.
The way we go to war these days is very different from 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. In the aftermath of the Paris terror attacks, the French launched a series of airstrikes, dropping 20 bombs against various ISIS facilities, such as a jihadi training camp and munitions dump. But experts say while it's important to learn from history, the new era of warfare and anti-terrorism efforts is constantly evolving.
It's not World War III. That's what Peter Bergen, director at ASU's Center for the Future of War, wants people to remember.
ISIS is not the Nazi party in Europe in 1941 or anything close. I mean, it's a relatively small group of people.
Bergen expects airstrikes to ramp up, but doesn't think we'll see a large influx of troops on the ground from any nation.
And we're arguing really at a matter of degree between Obama and Graham. You know, Graham would like a more robust presence, but he's not calling for the ground invasion of Iraq or Syria by U.S. conventional forces.
After Friday's attacks in Paris, world leaders are trying to figure out what's next, and so are political science experts in the Valley.
The drone strikes and targeted assassinations that have been effective at eroding the leadership of al-Qaeda are not necessarily going to be as effective against ISIS because the group operates in a fundamentally different way.
And experts with the center admit plans might be unclear, but the pain for Paris is still sharp.
But will there be other kinds of policy changes? Of course there will be. What will they be? You know, it depends. I mean, it's similarly true that in a free society, it's enormously difficult to ensure 100% security against attacks of this nature.
France has been in an official state of mourning since the attacks, but museums and tourist attractions reopened today. President Obama has ordered flags to be flown at half-staff until sunset on Thursday. In the broadcast center, Jennifer Souls, Cronkite News.
Arizona is now one of several states calling for an immediate halt in the placement of any new refugees. Arizona is expecting an influx of Syrian refugees over the next few years, but Governor Doug Ducey says that given the events in Paris, this is a step to keep our homeland safe. Ducey wrote, "I also call on Congress and the President to immediately amend federal law to provide states greater oversight and authority in the administration of the placement of refugees. These acts serve as a reminder that the world remains at war with radical Islamic terrorists. Our national leaders must react with the urgency and leadership that every American expects to protect our citizens."
Classes were canceled at a small alternative high school this morning in Tucson due to an online threat. The Star Academic Center, located on the south side of Tucson, received an anonymous Facebook threat of a mass shooting and bombing during early morning classes. Authorities checked out the school overnight. The district says classes will resume Tuesday.
Dignity Health wants people to ditch their smartphones and engage in a real conversation. It's launched a tech awareness campaign to educate people about the benefits of in-person interactions. Cronkite News reporter Wafa Shahid is live in downtown Phoenix with details.
The event drew in quite a crowd and was the first of its kind to promote the Take Back Your Morning campaign in downtown Phoenix. What's the first thing you do in the morning? Dignity Health is urging Phoenix residents to take back their morning by ditching their smartphones and engaging in a larger conversation.
With my generation, with all the technology, cell phones, online interaction, emails, social media, we've really lost the need to look at the person in front of us.
A conversation defined by human interaction and human kindness. Dignity Health's Take Back Your Morning campaign created a human interaction lane at Cityscape in downtown Phoenix, where people passing by were encouraged to walk through the lane without using technology and engage with one another over a free cup of coffee.
Most certainly, people are on their phones way too often. As people, we've lost that interaction, I feel. We're always posting things up on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and we hardly don't talk to each other and sit down and have a coffee.
The Take Back Your Morning initiative is asking Phoenix residents to make a pledge to promote more in-person interaction with the hashtag #TakeBackYourMorning visible on social media accounts.
We've really lost a certain degree of our humanity and we've replaced it with a superficial version of human interaction.
The Tech Awareness campaign encourages people to learn more about the health benefits of a technology-free morning. A Dignity Health survey actually inspired the campaign. It found that people estimate that they check their smartphones 134 times each day, and 80% of respondents feel people spend too much time on those phones.
By actually coming together and seeing each other in person, forcing that real interaction that we were designed to have, we can achieve so much more than a like or a comment on a post.
The next Take Back Your Morning campaign event will take place in San Francisco in December. Live in downtown Phoenix, I'm Wafa Shahid, Cronkite News.
Arizona ranked #1 for the best state to live in because of how well state Medicaid programs serve those with intellectual and developmental disabilities. That's according to a study released this year by United Cerebral Palsy. But our state fails to make the top 10 list of the best states for special education services from the organization Autism Speaks. Cronkite News reporter Ivan Rodriguez tells us how this calls for a greater need in options when it comes to education and financing for children with autism.
I spoke with a family who has 2 daughters with autism and visited a school that focuses on helping children with special needs. I found educating children with ASD has its own challenges and how parents pick the best option.
Both girls are both diagnosed with autism. Mackenzie was diagnosed about 2.5, almost 3 years old. Sheridan was diagnosed about the same age.
The type of education autistic children will thrive in is unique to each child. The Andersons say their children have very different needs.
Mackenzie is in a self-contained classroom at a public school, and Sheridan is more regular education with resource pull-out. In the beginning for Mackenzie, it was a little rough trying to figure out what classroom would best fit her. A lot of trial and error. Probably about first grade is when we found the classroom that was really beneficial.
We were told at a very young age that Mackenzie would never say I love you, and we wanted to prove everybody wrong.
I remember one time we were at a little gym and Mackenzie wasn't talking yet, and she said something about swing, and I was sitting there in the middle of the little gym just screaming, hooting, hollering, and the mom was looking at me dumbfounded like, she said the word swing, what's the big deal? And it's like, you don't understand, we've been working at this so hard.
Both Mackenzie and Sheridan say they are very thankful for their parents.
For like helping us to become athletic and stuff. Yep. And for helping us like achieve our goals. And yeah, and help us learn and do facts and like help us with our homework sometimes. Yep. Yeah, I just want to say thank you for that.
Director Deborah Watland of the Sierra Academy in Scottsdale, which provides education for students with special needs, believes that early intervention is key and that taking advantage of the Empowerment Scholarship is a great resource.
A lot of our parents are able to access the Empowerment Scholarship account to provide those funds so that they can make the educational decisions rather than the public schools making the decisions for them.
The Empowerment Scholarship is state funded. To be eligible, the school district has to identify the child as having a disability under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. The child has to be entering kindergarten, and both the child and parents have to be Arizona residents. According to the Friedman Foundation, Arizona was the first state to enact an education savings account. 2,499 students are receiving the scholarship as of fall 2015. This accounts for only 22% of students eligible statewide. I'm Ivan Rodriguez, Cronkite News.
A bill that would block a casino project that is nearly completed in the West Valley is on the calendar for routine approval in the U.S. House of Representatives. The legislation is sponsored by Republican Representative Trent Franks and 4 other Arizona members of Congress. If enacted, H.R. 308 would ban gambling at the Tohono O'odham Nation's casino near Glendale.
The White House has proclaimed that this week is Get Smart About Antibiotics Week. More than 150 organizations have pledged to improve antibiotic use and slow the spread of antibiotic resistance. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that 2 million Americans get an infection with an antibiotic-resistant bacteria each year, and 23,000 of those patients die. The CDC says doctors and patients need to use the right drugs at the right doses and duration to protect the effectiveness of the antibiotics.
We've heard about drones for the military, drones for delivery, and drones for photography.
But what about drones to save the desert? Coming up on Cronkite News, we go flying in search of an invasive species and a new way for scientists to collect data.
Growing up, my family had no real idea of where we came from. It's kind of like being in a fog because you feel like a piece of you is missing. What is the rest of my story? I saw African American Lives on PBS. I love the series, and there was a DNA kit that you could order to find out your African ancestry. And so I really got excited. My DNA results said that I was from Ghana. Wow. It just really opened me up to a whole new world, so I went ahead and started doing things. Now my mission is to write stories to have something to pass down to the next generation. It's important to know where you're from and to tell your children, teach them that. PBS helped me to go on a journey to discover who I was, and that journey will never end.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
The study of the spread of bufflegrass here in Arizona is now high-tech. Researchers are using drones to track down the invasive plant. I had the chance to see how 2 ASU students are partnering together, combining science and robotics. Buffelgrass. It's not native, a dangerous fire hazard, and can spread aggressively, killing other native plants. Brenton Scott, an ASU PhD student who studies buffelgrass, has teamed up with Benjamin Stinnett, an ASU research assistant in robotics, to utilize a drone for their research.
So it's not only going to be a less effort on our part, but also give us some very high resolution imagery for other types of analyses.
Before, using other methods increased the spread of buffelgrass seeds or didn't give them clear enough images. Now with drones, they are able to take pictures like these to map out the exact growth of buffelgrass, being a silent eye in the sky.
A project like this, we feel like we can really help them achieve a goal in a way that they wouldn't be able to otherwise.
And that's true. The scientists are closer than ever in finding a solution, all by the use of the drone.
They can actually aid us in gearing towards a study towards investigating different management strategies for either removing the grass or looking at the competition factors between this and native species within the preserve.
For Stinnett, using the drone for this project means something even greater in the robotic field.
I think one of the biggest problems that we face as roboticists is the negative connotation that drones have earned themselves because of inept pilots, because of people that aren't following the rules and regulations.
Using this project as a leading example to the public that drones can be used for good.
As regulations fall into place, as more people start coming up with new and innovative solutions that we can use our drones for, we're just going to push science and research and fieldwork especially past what we've ever seen before.
As Stinnett and Scott continue to work together using the drone, they will be taking near-infrared photos to distinguish between native and not native species of buffelgrass to see exactly where the problem areas are.
Performing arts education programs are in a constant fight for funding in schools nationwide, but some teachers aren't letting that stop their mission. Coming up next on Cronkite News, we'll take you to meet a piano teacher proving that music is at the heart of the community.
The easiest and best way to support Arizona PBS is by becoming a sustaining member. Your monthly contribution of $5 or more comes directly from your bank account or credit card, so you know your membership is always current. It also means no more renewal notices in your mailbox. So more of your dollars go to the programs you love. It's convenient for you, greener for us, and better for the planet. Become a sustaining member today.
Tap into the art scene from coast to coast. Join the Art Beat Nation, a weekly series where you'll experience a rich cultural tapestry of art stories from across America. Meet artists, writers, composers, and performers setting the pulse of the arts in America now. Join us for a brand new episode of Art Beat Nation, Sunday at 5 on 8HD. When you want to be more connected, friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us online.
Your favorite PBS shows, ready to watch when you are. Anytime, any place. Find more ways to explore than ever before.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse.
TV played Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
The gift of music doesn't come easy or cheap. With schools in Arizona having limited funds, music is the first to go, and lessons in the Phoenix area average about $30 per half hour. But Cronkite News reporter Yahaira Jaquez found a piano teacher in Phoenix who's making music accessible to all.
Watch closely, and each day you'll see children marching up and down this porch.
I see a lot of kids coming and going.
Outside, you can see why. Get close enough, and you can hear. This is the 40th year Carol Whaley has been teaching piano out of her West Phoenix home.
They learn new pieces, and all of a sudden their faces just light up.
Students like Allie Spiller, who struck her first chord with Mrs. Whaley back in the first grade.
And I stuck with it because once I really get good at it,
it's really fun to play, like when you get good at the song and see how it feels.
It doesn't come easy. She hits the wrong notes, and getting the right tempo down is a challenge.
She'll like correct me on it and be like, remember, hit this.
Mrs. Whaley lets them struggle and then helps. Her chair squeaks as she leans over, pointing to the right note.
You're figuring it out on your own, but she's there to go, do it this way and it'll be easier for you.
As Arizona schools spend less on the performing arts, Mrs. Whaley's classes are more valuable than ever. But it's more than classes that make neighborhood kids come back.
I like talking with her, and I tell her a lot of stuff, and she helps me get through it. When she comes in, and as many of the children do, they want to talk to you. So piano lessons are more than just teaching piano. It's being a friend for them. Somewhere safe to go.
Somewhere safe in a neighborhood that needs it.
In this neighborhood, it means a lot. There are many children who would not be able to afford lessons. By having less expensive rates, it's given them an opportunity.
Neighborhood mom or grandma is her title, and no one can deny that.
I've lived here my whole life, grew up right across the street, so she brings a lot to the community. A lot of the kids know her.
They've learned over the years that it's a place you can come and just hang out and visit if you want, you know.
And she thinks she's hit a high note with that one.
I'm glad I've been able to influence so many lives. And I have students, ex-students, come by and say, I drive by your house and I remember.
It's a gift she has.
This is what Carol was designed to do. She has a gift of playing piano.
But also one she shares.
She has a gift with young kids, and it's what she was made to do.
In Phoenix, Yahira Hawk has
good job.
Cronkite News.
Mrs. Whaley works out pricing with each family, making sure cost isn't a reason for a child not to take lessons.
It's a treat that most elementary students enjoy, so why not teach with it? Coming up on Cronkite News, how one school district is using ice cream to teach young students about STEM subjects.
Fridays, it's at Cronkite News, your social sharing connection where you choose the news. Facebook likes and shares, tweets, retweets, and favorites. YouTube views and subscriptions. We're watching you watch us. From our digital home at cronkitenews.azpbs.org to your television, web browser, or mobile device. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Then join us for at Cronkite News, our weekly refresh, each Friday at 5 on Arizona PBS.
The easiest and best way to support 8 Arizona PBS is by becoming a sustaining member. Your monthly contribution of $5 or more comes directly from your bank account or credit card, so you know your membership is always current. It also means no more renewal notices in your mailbox. So more of your dollars go to the programs you love. It's convenient for you, greener for us, and better for the planet. Become a sustaining member today.
Hi, I'm Judy Woodruff, co-anchor of the PBS NewsHour. Preparing the next generation of journalists has never been more important than it is now. With its groundbreaking partnership with Arizona PBS, the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication at ASU is revolutionizing journalism education to provide students with a real opportunity to work and learn under the supervision of veteran journalists, producers, directors, and editors on newscasts, investigative stories, and documentary productions. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, reinventing journalism education in the digital age.
I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. Cronkite News reporter Kendall Bartley tells us how Paradise Valley School District is using this premise to teach students STEM subjects.
From the cow to the cone, the district is taking something the students already are interested in, ice cream, and using it to teach first graders subjects like science, engineering, technology, and math. The teachers say the Ice Cream Factory program uses live, in-person, experiential learning. Oh, and it's utterly fun as well.
My name is Clayton, and I'm excited to share with you this week's lesson.
Clayton Kingsley is a junior at Pinnacle High School and the face of Ice Cream Factory. Ice Cream Factory is a 4-week-long live broadcast shown to every first grader in the district. It teaches students the steps it takes to create that sweet snack they love so much.
I think it really started from fun. How do we make sure that students understand that learning can be exciting.
Each week, Kingsley teaches a specific part of the ice cream process, beginning with the cow and where the milk comes from, to how the flavor for the ice cream is made and ends up in their cone. The district brings in an expert from local companies like Arizona Farm Bureau, Superstition Farms, and the Sweet Republic Artisan Ice Cream Shops.
I think that opportunity to introduce them to the people that are really working jobs that they haven't even learned about yet. It's not in a textbook, it's real, and I think it's meaningful.
The students also get to interact by asking the experts questions. After the interactive broadcast, the students participate in a lab related to what they learned.
We need to teach all of the standards. It's not individual standards all separated out. They're all integrated together. So for me, it's a fun, hands-on way for the kids to get those standards met.
I was able to join the lab in Mrs. Stanton's class. Here, students sniffed paper bags with ice cream flavored scents and then drew a picture of what they smelt.
The ice cream is just a big trick to get them to learn science. It's all cleverly hidden under layers of chocolate and sprinkles.
Now the fun doesn't stop just there. To top it off, this January, the district is bringing a live cow from a farm in Texas to every elementary school in the district. These kids get to see a live demonstration of a cow being milked and learn about the animal's anatomy. I'm Kendall Bartley, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's next on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
Coming up after Cronkite News, it's Arizona Horizon, sobering results of a study looking at the academic growth of online charter school students. And we'll hear about a new opera set in 16th century Mexico. That's next on Arizona Horizon.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next NewsHour, the latest on the Paris attacks and where vocational education is making a difference. That's Monday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.